My beautiful brothers and sisters and friends and family. Much love to everybody out there. How are you guys doing? It is a beautiful day, regardless if it's stormy outside, regardless if it is a bad news day, guys. It is a beautiful day because our Creator has built an entire ecosystem to support us. We have this giant ball of flames that comes roaring over our heads every single day that lights us, that gives us this essential vitamin called vitamin D. And not only does it light us, but it goes across the sky. And according to the book of Enoch, it's released out of a gate. And it goes across this path and it ends up at the end of another gate. And every day the cycle is the same, but some days it comes out of different gates, and that's what makes our seasons. So that's what the book of Enoch says, and that makes a lot more sense than being monkeys spinning around on a water ball with a Creator that's nowhere to be found. The funny thing about all of that, not to digress, but that when we talk about the place that we live, according to scriptures, it's unmovable. It's unshakable. In fact, it says that, according to King David, he says it's a footstool underneath of the feet of our Creator. And so there's a lot to be said for all of that. And we can speculate and we can wonder. But when we look at, is there a Creator? I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, we don't even have to have faith to understand that there is a Creator, because creation within itself, if we look around it, proves creation. It proves a magnificent Creator. You cannot have the kind of ecosystem that we have, with the kind of support and water and streams and rivers and things to give us all of this kind of life. None of this was an accident. All of this is a complete, intricate, beautiful design that is something our Creator has given to us to sustain us. And so when we look at creation from that level, it is amazing that people have such a hard time believing in a Creator. But not only is our Creator real, and creation is real, and our environment is real, and it has been created by an engineer beyond our scope of understanding, then we have been provided with a manuscript that has been protected for the most part, because we ended up with 5 great books, the very first books of scriptures, that you will have these men who are paid essentially to lie to people and tell them that these first 5 books have no value. That, in fact, not only do they not have value, but that the Creator of the universe sent His Son to be nearly tortured the day before He was hung up on a stake to die, so that these first 5 books are dead and dissolved. There's a new way forward, right? What does this sound like to you guys? This sounds like modern day Christianity, where they will tell you all food has been made cling, and then they will follow that up with Peter's dream. And neither of those are correct, because all food was not made cling. That is a translation error inside of basically 1 or 2 very bad manuscripts, and they put it in parentheses, so you know it's not real. And when you read things in context, which you absolutely have to read things in context, because if you just take little bits of pieces here and there and you create your own doctrine, then you're missing all of the other great doctrine. The great doctrine, the words of wisdom, the beginning of understanding begins in Genesis, and it follows into Exodus, and then it gives us a time of the people when our Creator dwelt amongst us in Leviticus and how He wanted us to act. And you could see how everything went astray inside of Numbers, and the final laws and the reiteration of the laws and how our Creator has asked us to live and to operate all throughout the book of Deuteronomy. It's inside of these first 5 books that we actually understand the heart, mind, and soul and the desire of our Creator. And we have religion that has lied to people, and they say, well, the God of the Old Testament's a God of wrath. He's a God, he's a killing machine. Look at him go. And then they're like, well, the God of the New Testament's love. It's grace. It's all about mercy, mercy, mercy. They all miss the entire picture. There is grace. Grace has been given to us. That's why we have a Messiah. That's why we have a way forward. That's why we haven't all been burned by a giant lightning bolt for being evil and corrupt, because our Creator is long-suffering with us in our ways. And he's hoping that all of us come to the realization that these first 5 books of scriptures are incredible. They are a guidepost to life. They will make you extremely wealthy. Now, before you go crazy on that, and because I know some eyes are crossing, I'm not talking about fundamentally wealthy like with physical cash. But inside of these books, you will learn what our Creator has told us that we need to learn, read, understand, walk around, and be part of our lives for all generations. We are all generations, my friends. It never stopped. There's never a spot in scriptures where our Creator's like, okay, you know what, my laws, those were a little tough. Go ahead and drink the blood. Go ahead and look at your family naked. Go ahead and harm the disabled. Go ahead and rip people off with no regard. Don't worry about any of my appointed times. Don't be fruitful. Definitely don't multiply. Don't go ahead and offer your kids up to Moloch, right? That's the crazy stuff that you're saying when you don't want to be under governance of the laws of our Creator. So we have to understand that the fundamental basis of anything in scriptures is that there's a set of guidelines, and we must keep them for all times, for all generations. And Messiah Yahushua, Jesus, as a lot of people know him as, in Matthew 7, says, go to hell those who are lawless. Now, it sounds very horrible, and people will go, well, it actually says, depart from me, ye who are Torah-less, or ye who are in iniquity. It's the same meaning, right? That is what we have to come to this understanding. And so this is why I am here, and we are talking right now, because I absolutely love these scriptures, and I absolutely love you all. And I hope all of you guys are kingdom warriors. I hope all of you guys are people who will obey these laws, statutes, the commandments, that will align your lives based upon these scriptures. And this particular scriptures that you're reading out of here, guys, is Yah Scriptures, the greatest English translation that has ever been given to us in the English language. It has had so much love and so much compassion, so much editing, so much proofreading. It is a very, very, very good manuscript, and it has 103 books. It doesn't have just the straight 66 that the Catholics and all the other people that want to take all the other books out. It has been restored, and now you have the full truth. And there's incredible books like the book of 2nd Ezra. It tells us more about eternity and what happens the moment we die than any other book anywhere. We just don't hear about this stuff. There's stuff inside of the 12 patriarchs that you do not get anywhere else. Things about the sons of Jacob, things that they went through, their final words, how they want us to view them, how they want their kids to understand their final words. We lost all that, but now it is back. And guys, you can go to Yah Scriptures. It's yahscriptures.com. In the description below is a link to where you can get Yah Scriptures. They are limited edition. I hope to get them more printed, but I don't know. This is always one of these things. I'm not going to base anything on the future. We have to get as many of these into our brothers and sisters in chains as we can in this batch. And when this batch is gone, if we're able to successfully get another batch, then we will. If not, it'll be limited edition. And so you probably won't want to miss this. It has 3 bookmarks. It's large print, 14.5 font. It's absolutely huge. So inside of this, we are heading into the very last book of the book of, it's called the book of the Nazarene. It's the book of Khalidi. And it is the words of our Messiah as he was walking amongst us. It gives us more content than all of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, in basis of things that are amenities, that are adjectives to the Torah. They're describing, they're the proper way that we should run with the Torah, understanding of love, understanding loving our neighbor. Very much things that we don't get elsewhere. And there's a lot, though, that it's all the same, right? It's just, a lot of it's the same parables told in different ways, but we get a lot more meat and we get a lot more potatoes out of this. And I think today's is going to be really, really good because we live in a world of worry, right? We're worried. We have bills to pay, rents due, garbage, all of this, sewer, right? There's always bills to pay, and it seems like it's hard, right? We feel like we live in a hamster wheel, that it's nonstop struggles, and it is, right? It's not going to be easy because, especially if you're a Torah keeper, especially if you love the laws of our Creator, you have hordes of demons that hate you even more, but that's okay because we have hordes and legions of messengers and angels that are there for our defense as well. And so this is why we want to be considered a child of the Most High, so that we have these extracurricular forces that are defending us. Where the world is just plagued with these demons, we need much extracurricular defenses. All right, so here we are, 51. This is from the words of Messiah. Messiah says this: "Is there anyone among you who by thought alone can add arm's length to his height?" Question, right? The question is anybody able to get any higher? If you're 5'5", 5'6", whatever it is, are you able to achieve 5'8", 5'9"? We can't, right? It's just we are as tall as we are, and as we get older, we shrink. So there's no way to make this happen. So Messiah is setting this up that if we're sitting here worrying about our height, there's why? What would we be doing? Why are we even stressing on this? Why are we elevating our heartbeat and our nerves, our emotions? Why? Continue on, Messiah says, worry is a useless activity of the mind. So why worry about food and clothing? Absolutely huge. Messiah has said this before. It's been reiterated over and over and over how much our Creator values humans. And the value of his humans are going to raise up a tremendous amount when we are all trying to achieve the ways of our Creator. When we have said, yes, I want to keep the Torah, I'm going to embrace it in my life, I want to walk in these laws, statutes, and commandments, I no longer want to live in iniquity, I want to do everything possible to align my life to this Torah, then our Creator's absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to give you some extra love in a lot of different ways, a lot of extra protection, things we probably don't even know about. Messiah continues on. He goes, look how the wildflowers grow in the meadows. They do not toil or spin, yet Shalomah in full regalia was not attired so attractively as one of these. Now, I don't know if this Shalomah was, he's the greatest wizard of all times. This guy, people, the Christians have labeled this guy as something great, and everybody's happy about Shalomah. But Shalomah was into black magic. He was into all sorts of things that he probably shouldn't have been into. But because he was disloyal to our Creator and he sacrificed to a god, and from the Testament of Solomon, he basically crushed a whole bunch of live grasshoppers up into his hands and killed it. And that was enough that basically all the blessings of Yah just turned off. The protections of Yah turned off. The demons were unable to, they were free. He had trapped a whole bunch of demons. This dude is a warlock. But it continues on, and we hear about this a lot, about the wildflowers growing in the meadows. And yeah, they do not toil or spin, right? And, Shalomah, as hunky as he was looking in all his attire, wasn't even as close to just a basic, beautiful flower of a meadow. And I will completely agree with all of that, because living deep in the jungles of Central America, right at the edge of South America. We have, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of different kind of plants that come flying our way. The jungle is enormous and it never ever stops. You have your basic grass that everybody knows about, but then you end up with crazy vines with a whole bunch of spikes that'll rip your arm off. You end up with just foliage, just all these different kind of plants. There's one plant called the shame tree, and all the leaves, if you just blow on it, all the leaves will cover up. The entire plant is alive. These things out in these jungles are alive. Everything our Creator has done is part of His system, and it's alive, and everything that He's built is absolutely beautiful, which is why I always go back to saying that creation proves a Creator has done such a thing. Continuing on, Messiah says, if such beauty is bestowed on wild flowers, which can display it for only a few days before being consumed, shall Yahuwah not give much more attention to you, His children? Or have you no faith in anything? Yeah, and this is exactly right. Messiah knows exactly how the ecosystem of the world works. We have all of these different crazy seasons and all these plants and vines and things. They all come into bloom and they all go out of bloom. Sometimes there's just enormous, beautiful, like purple flowers and yellow flowers all up in the trees. They're there for a couple of weeks and then they're gone. And there's these giant plants. They look like giant, it's like bellflowers, and they're everywhere, and they look like beautiful dangling bells everywhere. There's just amazing stuff that is out here, and the understanding our Creator's Son is trying to get through to us is look at the majesty of creation and look at us. The plants, I don't believe, have a soul. They don't have a will to get up and move around and do it. They just do what they do. We have been given every tool available to be successful, to figure out that our Creator has made a way for us called the Torah, which does mean the way forward. This is what this is all about. And so when we're sitting here worrying about things that don't matter, this is where our Messiah sums it up. Have you faith in anything? Guys, are we so worried that we're getting lost in it? And I've been there. I have been one of those people that gets lost in it, and I do get lost in it. And it's something that when those events, or when we're feeling despair or complete darkness and the sun's just not as bright as it used to be, guys, we have to have faith that our Creator, who has created such a wonderful ecosystem and an amazing world and a beautiful human design, that He wants His stuff working right, which is why we have a chapter called Leviticus 11, which is our dietary laws. It is why we shouldn't eat roadkill, right? We shouldn't be driving along and see this dead piece of carcass and break out the steak knife and the fork and cut it open and eat, right? That's part of Leviticus 11. When people say all food has been made clean and you pick up something that's been dead for weeks and you get some sort of terrible infection, you die a horrible, painful death, well, that's because we ate unclean food. The Torah says we shouldn't eat roadkill or something that's been killed by animals. Leave that to the Gentiles. Then there's people that literally will pick that up and take it home and eat it. Continuing on. Therefore, Messiah says, worry less about material things and concentrate more on the spiritual, making the cause of Elohim your main concern. Guys, a lot to sum up right here. Material things, right? We live in a material world. We've had the song since the 80s, material world, material girl. We've had all these demons and Satan is singing about the material things. You had the entire rap culture that came in, and it was all about money and cars and women and just the most immoral kind of things you can ever do, right? The material things will kill us, right? If we're storing up things here and we die and take our last breath at any moment that our Creator calls us to wherever we go, have we made sufficient building of our funds in the kingdom to come? Have we established this line of credit? Have we been doing things here that are going to get us a way forward? Have we been loving our neighbor? Have we been taking care of the poor, the orphans, widows, lepers? I had to throw the lepers in there because that's the Hallelujah Scriptures. They're the ones that are always grifting people and running a 13-year scam using that. So anyway, we need to establish our line of credit. Messiah says, do this and all other things will come within your reach, right? How do we get things in our reach? Well, he says, making the cause of Elohim our main concern. How do we do that? What does that mean? Well, number one, our main concern is what we focus our life on, what we focus our time on, what we focus our energy on is our reach. Are we becoming better gamers? Are we becoming better woodworkers? Are we becoming better, I don't know, whatever, right? Or are we becoming more astute in the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator? Do we sit down with our family every single day and do we pray with them before they leave? Do we pray with them before bed? Do we read scriptures before we go to bed? Do we make sure that we're involving Yahuwah in our life in all aspects and all avenues? It's so much that we're supposed to know. There's only 150 commands. In North America alone, there's 700,000 different federal and regulated laws that people fall under every single day. By most accounts, people they come home with 3 felonies on their record every single day by stuff that they do that just is normal stuff, that if the feds wanted you, that you would fall under that. So our main concern always needs to be the kingdom. The kingdom will be fulfilled. The kingdom will come when all of the people who are willing to seek the kingdom are out here doing this and fishing for men. And we're out there lighting this up and we're telling people, right? We are supposed to be the lights. What good is our light if we hide it in a bushel? The courage is what we need to do right now, because every single person that you're able to plant this seed into is amazing. I heard a story the other day about some dude that had planted a seed with these people I ended up knowing, and it was another dude that I actually knew that was on our channel. And so I don't know how this all came about, but these people, prior to this guy waking them up, they were completely asleep. They were full-on Christians. They did not know. They were in a trance, right? They were in a satanic trance that unfortunately is the cult of a so-called religion. I'm not just picking on Christians. I'm picking on every single place that is a religion. If you're using scriptures outside of scriptures, then it is contrary to scriptures. We have commandments. Deuteronomy 4:2 says, do not add to, do not put anything in, right? We're not adding to, taking away. It's very, very important that we don't add extracurricular books. That's how we end up with traditions of men. That's also how we ended up with 41,000 different Christian denominations, all serving a different Elohim because it's not with scriptures. So continuing on, Messiah says, each day will bring you sufficient problems without the need to worry about those of other days. I sit and think about this a lot, right? There's a lot to worry about, especially when you have kids, right? You worry about their future. You worry about what's going to happen. All sorts of things to worry about, right? But we need to focus on the immediate. We need to focus what is right before us, because we don't have to live in the state of fear, because we have the promise, not only by the Son of the Most High, but we have the promise by our Creator that if we will be His people, in that we will obey His ways and His laws, statutes, and commandments, He will be our Elohim. He will be our God. That's what we want. It's a two-way street, right? It's a covenant path. It's not just something that you can believe on Jesus and you're saved. That isn't it, right? This is a life-changing transformation that all of us go through, that we have to go through as we seek scriptures. I find holes in my game all the time. There's so much that I get out of just reading these scriptures with you guys and getting them going. And I'm not too much. Hopefully I don't go too long, guys. I'm trying to keep it short. So, but it's not working out. So let's continue on. And this next one looks really, really meaty. Okay. But I think this is good, right? I mean, we're not to be worrying about stuff. These are the promises that we're getting. There is no reason why hypocrisy, the disease of the day, should come so naturally to men. That's important. We'll discuss the next one after that. But which of you is not contaminated by it? So we're talking hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is doing opposite of the things that you should be doing, right? Let's say, for instance, this is crazy because we live. If Messiah was talking about the disease of the day, this is absolutely the disease of our lifetime right now, because we have 41,000 different denominations, right? And they know the 10 commandments, right? But the fourth commandment in the 10 commandments is to keep the Sabbath day. So right out of the gate, if you're a Christian, you're getting a 90% just off of 10 moral laws right there, because you're not obeying the day that our Creator has set apart as a day that He blessed, right? He's not blessing the first day. He's not blessing Sol Victus, the day of the sun. So the contamination is that all of us were contaminated with this hypocrisy, and we didn't understand it was even hypocrisy. It was a religion. It was a cult. Our eyes were closed because we were told not to examine the first of the book. The first of the book was for little kids and stories, and up until you're 15 years old, and then after that, it's just some old people stories, right? There's no value to it. Once we realize that we've been lied to and duped and the entire thing has been a scam, then we are less contaminated by it. But we can still be complete hypocrites, because once we know the laws, statutes, and commandments, when we are not loving our neighbor, when we have evil speak, when we're lusting after women, or women lusting after men, right? All of those things are evil. All of those things are against the Torah. And so the Torah life is getting yourself as clean as you possibly can when it comes to scriptures, dialing this in. And you won't know how to dial it in unless we know what it is, right? When we don't do scriptures, when we don't know what the first 5 books say, it's easy to fall astray. Now, Messiah says, how many of you are self-deceivers, making excuses for these things? How is it that you can readily detect the small faults in others while being absolutely blind to your own much greater ones? Wow. Big stuff, right? This is the hypocrisy that, it happens. It happens in my house a lot with my kids, right? There's always that thing, something about brotherhood. There's something about, I don't know anything about sisterhood. I was an only child, so this is all mesmerizing to me, the internal functioning setup of how brothers seem to operate. But there's always the standard that they have, and they will absolutely judge their brothers using a different standard by then which they've been judged, or various things. There's always strange hypocrisy there. So all of these things are things all of us need to do to figure things out. Messiah continues on. How can you say to another? Did I get that one? Yeah. How is it that you can readily detect the small faults in others while being absolutely blind to your own much greater ones? How can you say to another, let me help you see more clearly, when you are practically blind yourself? You hypocrites and self-deceivers, first examine your own faults and failings before criticizing those of others. Huge words, guys. Huge words, right? When we're out there being the busybodies, judging absolutely everybody, we all have all these planks in our eyes, right? It happens to me. I do that. I will judge my kids wrong, and I will judge, and I have a plank in my eye. I will do wrong things, right? We have to examine our own faults. We have to look very, very closely at how do we operate as human beings. What is this going to look like when our lives are replayed to us on the day of accounting? How are we going to answer for this? Are we getting better? Are we bettering ourselves using scriptures every single day and trying to be the people of our Creator? Or do we just not care? We live in a world of mostly just don't caring. Most people don't care about Torah. They don't care about scriptures. They don't care about any of this. So the kingdom is built for those who are obedient. The kingdom is built for those who are willing to not only serve our Creator, but to serve His Son, right? The kingdom to come is right over the horizon. We're close, guys. It's 6,000 some years. I mean, some people have 6,000 on the dot. Some have it like 50, 60 years from now. It may not be in our lifetime, but it's coming soon. And we need to be preparing the way for the kingdom, right? The kingdom is only going to come when we are out there bringing the kingdom to men and bringing it out there. So guys, please be bold. Please be bold in ministering to those. Show love, show compassion, buy people a bag of hamburgers. Go sit with some people that look like they really could use some hamburgers. Give them a bit of love. Guys, with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you all for whoever makes it this far and whoever's watched this. Much love to you all. I'm out.